Hi there, welcome to the archives. So, TGIF, happy Friday. It's February 6th. Today's Bob Marley's birthday. We are still in Aquarius season and Black History Month. I thought I'm going to continue with Sojourner Truth. I am going to finish her first, then we'll move into Africville. I also later I want to do a post talking about Black History Month in Canada because I've been seeing a lot of Americans be like, this is our thing. We can't even have anything. I don't disagree with that, right? Black History Month definitely started in the United States. Um, I also want folks to know that it has been adopted in Canada, and so I have been celebrating Black History Month since the 90s, every February here in Canada. Usually we try to, when I was growing up, we would learn about a lot of the American activists, and we still do, right? Martin Luther King, Malcolm X, Rosa Parks, um, not much beyond that. Every now and then we'll talk about Canadian folks like Viola Davis, who's often associated with being like Canada's Rosa Parks. But there's a lot of other folks, right? And so just wanted to put out there that Black History Month is also celebrated in Canada during the month of February, in up here in the northern part of North America. It has been something that I look forward to, I'm sure. Um, it has a different meaning probably than our American folks, right? But it is something that um, we celebrate here. Again, there have been Black people in Canada who have been living here for over 400 years as well, too, right? But basically, we didn't really get started until the 70s. So in 1978, the Ontario Black History Society was founded, and its members were like, right away, we need to petition the city of Toronto to make February Black History Month. So again, Toronto is where I am from. Then a couple years, the year after, in 1979, so we were really late, Toronto became the first Canadian city to officially celebrate Black History Month, and that was in 79. Okay, by 1995, the House of Commons officially recognized February as Black History Month across Canada, and that motion was introduced by Jean Augustine. Jean Augustine is one of our ambassadors. She's a Grenadian, if I'm not mistaken, and she championed for it to be officially recognized in 1995. Okay, I was going to read a poem. I was gift Just to give context, I was gifted this book the Christmas of 1995, The Children of Promise. I got this book in 1995, and so you could tell that, and it was to a hardworking and promising, okay, young lady. For all those, she's lazy. Since I was 10, I've been hardworking. It says so right here. Anyways, 1995, and then in 2008, it was completed. The recognition was completed by Senator Donald Oliver, who introduced a motion to have the Senate officially recognize the month. And so it was passed unanimously in 2008. And so basically, that is the lineage of Black History Month here in Canada. Obviously, there's a lot more. I went to a Black History Month kickoff event here in Ottawa last weekend, and there was a couple of folks. I don't have my phone. One of the people that were mentioned was said to have been monumental in getting Black history here in Canada. Okay, so like I said, Jean Augustine, she's sort of seen as a godmother of Black History Month in Canada. But back in 1993, she became the first Black woman who was elected in the House of Commons. And then she put the motion, like I said, forward in 1995. We also have like Rosemary Sadlier, who is a longtime president of the Ontario Black History Society. And Sadlier was the engine behind the movement, is what it says here. She was the one who went to Jean Augustine about the bringing the celebrations to a federal level. And they spent decades lobbying different levels of government to ensure that Black history was not just a footnote Okay, and then again, Donald Oliver was also one of the first black man appointed to Senate. He realized um, that the House of Commons recognized it in 1995. The Senate had never formally done so, and so he fixed that in 2008, right? And so he ensured that the Black History Month was officially solidified in both houses in Parliament here in Ottawa. Okay, and so often people say that Canada copied the United States because they both share February, and the timing is absolutely the same, right? To honor Frederick Douglass and such, whose birthday is in February, also in Aquarius. I believe Abraham Lincoln is also, because it says Abraham Lincoln here as well too. He's also in Aquarius, but like we're not getting to that. Um, Canada has a little bit of a different in terms of, Ari, don't do that, please. It's grassroots movements, and it's just kind of our own story, right? So I definitely understand why Americans are like, why are they? Because you will always hear me say, Canadians are very much so follow-batty in that kind of a sense, right? We definitely do copy a lot of things Americans do, but I think that's just the world over, right? Black American culture, America in general, it has, in terms of, like, I took global studies growing up in my first year, my undergraduate, and a lot of that we learned about globalization, ethnocentrism, and so I think Americans tend to do have a lot of like ethnocentrism. Americans in general don't know much about other places in the world, I find, and not just Black Americans, but just Americans in general. They can't point out. Maybe I'm just a geography snob, but they can't. They don't really know what's going on with a lot of different parts of the world, especially white Americans. They like point to Africa. They still think Africa is like a country, not a continent. Um, right? We don't, like I said, I don't know much about Black Brazilians or Black Colombians, and so Canadians have that same kind of a thing, is what the Americans do. We kind of tend to do, but don't erase Black History Month in Canada either, right? We can hold two things at the same time, just like the conversation is, yes, absolutely. Immigrant communities help to build these countries, but also don't forget about the enslaved Africans who were here, who literally built a lot of the structures and the foundations, right, in both Canada and the United States. So I just wanted to put that out there. Is Canada also does have Black History Month. Our Black History Month does fall in February as well too, and we had a lot of major players who worked to get that started. Okay. So before I leave in honoring our Black American kin, again, like I said, this is one of my favorite books. You could tell, like, I've had it for a really long time. Um, Arya, please be careful. I've had this book for 30 years. How I get in it? This is between you and you. This has nothing to do with me. You look at you scratching on my arm. You are the one who loves to struggle. I'm just here chilling. Arya loves to struggle and just always just. Ayura is the opposite. She's just such a Taurus. She has such Taurus. They're both Aries, but like, don't get me involved. Scratching up my arm, trying to save yourself. It was you and you alone. So that's Arya. Before I leave, also I wanted to share a poem from Children of Promise, African American Literature and Art for Young People. And it's edited by Charles Sullivan. It has so many people in here. I haven't posted the one I did on. I shared a poem earlier from, I believe it was Gwendolyn Brooks. Today I wanted to share a poem because we're going to get into Sojourner Truth next. So it is a poem by Imamu Amira Baraka, who was originally formerly known as Leroy Jones. And so this is called Young Soul. First feel, then read or read, then feel, then fall, or stand where you already are. Think of yourself and the other selves. think of your parents, your mothers, your sisters, your bent slick father, then feel or fall on your knees if nothing else will move you. Then read and look deeply into all matters. Come close to you, city boys, countrymen. Make some muscle in your head, but use the muscle in your heart. And so this is called Young Soul by Imamu Amira Baraka. Okay? And the image next to it, this is the image, this is the poem there. You could tell I love the way that it's written, the style is gorgeous. And then this is the image here, and it's called Head of a Negro by John Singleton Copley, 1777 to 78. Okay? So I'm going to end this video here, and I'm going to get into Sojourner Truths Chapter 1 in the next video. And I'll continue this one, Sojourner Truth, so then when I talk about Africville, you could see the commonalities between the American experience and the Canadian experience. Again, obviously completely different, but at the same time, when you're dealing with colonialism, settler colonialism, empire, it's actually not that different. They actually do copy and paste a lot of it, right? They find that, oh, this works, we're going to continue to do it with all of them. So there are a lot of overlaps and similarities, including Black folks interacting with Native and Indigenous communities here in Canada as well too. Obviously, the difference is Canada is often cited as like the land of the free, where a lot of Americans came. That's not necessarily true. So like I said, I'm going to continue with Sojourner Truth, and then once I'm done that, we'll get into Africville. Africville, again, is a settlement, a Black settlement in Canada on the eastern coast in Nova Scotia, and they have a really rich history in terms of Black Canadians that have been here for hundreds and hundreds of years. Jamaican Maroons were also sent to Africville, so we're going to get into who the Jamaican Maroons were. They got kicked out of Jamaica and got sent. Enslaved from East Africville were also sent to Sierra Leone. So I think the thing about Africville and Nova Scotia is you see a lot of that. You see it's the Caribbean, the Jamaican influence there. You see them going to Africa. I believe it's Sierra Leone, not Liberia at this time. Right, so we'll get into that later. That was a poem from Amamu Amira Baraka. This is Children of Promise, and I just wanted to remind folks that Canada, yes, we do have Black History Month. We're actually not just like trying to take Americans, even though people still say that like we still copy Americans. But I do think that like for Black Canadians here, it's important for us to have a month where we do recognize Black history, right? So until next time, in solidarity.